G'day Year 11, welcome to Lesson 5. We are skipping Lesson 4 just for now. That is a lesson I would really love to save for a post-lockdown world. So we're going to proceed with Lesson 5 and come back to that a bit later. If we're still in lockdown, I'll reevaluate the situation then. But for now, we're going to proceed with Lesson 5 and come back to Lesson 4 a bit later. So lesson 5 is on this thing called Semiotics, which we're going to learn about today. So make sure you date today's date, or whatever date you are doing this lesson on. And we're on page 18. So semiotics, we're still on this dot point that we were last lesson on verbal and non-verbal communication. And semiotics falls under the non-verbal communication category. So what semiotics is the study behind the meaning behind signs and symbols. And I've got a few of these signs and symbols here, and it's all about how they convey different information to the receiver or to the person that you're communicating to. So for example, semiotics, we're talking about signs and symbols, right? So we know from this image that this is representing a peach, right? But if we see this emoji of a peach, it doesn't necessarily mean fruit, although it does. So in this image here, the semiotic meaning is, obviously this is a peach, we can see that because of the flesh and the seed, and we're used to associating that image with the fruit that is a peach. However, when we see this image, or the emoji, the semiotics behind this can mean a few different things. One, it can mean a peach, but what it has been used in the emoji world is also the resemblance of a butt, or having a peachy butt, right? So that was used, especially in Kim Kardashian's famous photo where she posed nude from the back, which I'm sure you've all seen, and that peach emoji was used to describe that. So that is the semiotic meaning behind the emoji, and that can mean things for different kinds of fruit or vegetables as well, but it can also mean any sort of emoji that we're using. If it's a happy emoji, a sad emoji, the semiotics of that sign or symbol is conveying a certain message to the receiver as they're decoding it, right? Similar to this, what this image here in its essence is a stick and a piece of cloth attached to it that is the color white. Now we know that to be a white flag, or the semiotic meaning behind this sign and symbol is surrender. So if you ever heard the phrase waving the white flag, it means that you're giving up or surrendering. Often used in times of war in the medieval days, but it's a saying that we still use in contemporary society. So the symbol behind that flag would mean or be very different to the symbol of a different flag, which we have here, right? So they're both flags, but because of their semiotic relationship and how they look, we interpret the meaning of that differently. So this is the Aboriginal flag. Here we've got black representing the people, red representing the land, and yellow representing the sun, right? So even the colors behind those semiotics are very important, and we can see that here with traffic lights, right? Red meaning stop, green meaning you can drive and proceed ahead, amber meaning slow down or floor it, depending on how you take that semiotic symbol there. So as we can see, there's lots of different symbols within semiotics. So those signs and symbols, different colors meaning different things. So if you were to look at, say, for example, construction workers, right? If you're driving around on your L's, or if you're just walking or whatever, a lot of the colors you see in construction sites are bright fluoro colors, often fluoro yellow and fluoro orange. Now we tend to associate those colors with not necessarily danger, but we've come to associate those colors with areas where we need to pay more or particular attention to, because those colors stand out. So the semiotic meaning behind the relationship of that color yellow or fluoro yellow is really relevant. It's the most common highlighter color that people use as well when they're writing documents or reading through documents, is that highlighting yellow. So again, that semiotic relationship, if you're highlighting something in fluoro yellow, meaning that you need to pay close attention to it, right? It's the same with fluoro vests and things of that nature. Okay, so what I want you to do is put this semiotic knowledge to practice. Okay, once you've completed that word bank and had a look at those images, I want you to tell me what each symbol here represents. And if you can, also denote and talk to the color of it and a bit more detail. So say, for example, if we're going to do this one, you could obviously write that this symbolizes marriage, because we can see the engagement ring, the wedding band, and then the other wedding band here. But I want you to talk a bit more in detail about, I guess, what's more reasons to provide that you know that that's a wedding set. Okay, ideally there's 3 rings. The diamonds are more expensive. Like your average Joe just wouldn't have a plain ring, although they might, but you would assume it would be more fancy because it is the marriage ring. So talk a bit more about the depth of it. So see, we've got a construction sign here. Why do we think that's yellow? So go into a bit more depth about that if you can, just labeling it and writing it on the side. What does each symbol represent? After you have done that, I want you to watch this clip from the Big Bang Theory sitcom. And it's a clip of Sheldon not being too sure what a tie on the door means. So he's looking at the semiotics or symbol or imagery of that tie, and he's not quite sure what it means when Leonard's in the room and he's got a tie on the door. It's quite funny. So what I want you to do is watch that clip and then explain the semiotic meaning behind the tie in that scene. Okay, remembering to use all the lines. So go ahead and do that and pause this video now. Now that you've done that, I want you to look again at another example. So this is again another non-verbal example. This is also a non-verbal example, remembering that semiotics falls under the non-verbal branch of communication. So this is a body language video, and it's examining the semiotics, I guess, of your hand gestures and how that can communicate different meaning. It's very interesting. So again, watch that video. I'll put the link in the description. And after you've watched the video, I want you to tell me what a palm up facing means if you talk with your palms up, if you talk with your palms down, and if you point, what each of those things mean. And then I want you to answer question 2. Are you a palms up, palms down, or a pointer? You can just write it there, or you can highlight whichever one it is. Question 3, what do you think this reveals about how you communicate? Again, you'll need to watch the video to understand that. And then 4, what other types of body language do you think could shift someone's perception of you? Again, you'll need to watch the video there for some context. And that is lesson 5, my friends. Semiotics is study again behind symbols and imagery. Again, the symbol itself plays an important role, but so does the colors to convey meaning. Okay, if I could just touch back to this flag example, a pure white flag is surrendering, but if you see a checkered flag, that means the finish line of a race, right? So lots of different meanings there. Could even be down to patterns and things like that. All right, thanks for tuning in.